My name is Ally. With just a slight change in the weather, my rural home becomes infested with bugs, turning me, a 34-year-old full-time housewife, into what you might call a hunter, zealously engaging in pest control every year. I used to be able to say eek, bugs are so scary, yuck, without a trace of embarrassment, but after turning 30, I find myself swatting them without a flicker of emotion. Boy, I've certainly become tough. It was this me who brought my sister, who had a crush on my husband, to justice. This happened a few years ago, when I was still in my 20s. After a long time, a middle school reunion was held, and I was reunited with Alex, a childhood friend who used to live nearby. Right after we started elementary school, my sister Sophie, who is 2 years younger, Alex, and I used to play together a lot. But gradually, Alex started to drift away from us as the typical boyish pride of not wanting to play with girls grew stronger. In middle school, we grew even more distant as Alex's family moved away. So, I was really nervous when we talked at the reunion. But as adults, we have a strong ally. Yes, alcohol. Dear alcohol, I love you. Strengthened by the power of alcohol, both Alex, whose tongue had loosened, and I found ourselves chatting away as if we hadn't been apart for years. We ended up going to a second and then a third round of drinks, just the two of us, and as we were about to part ways, Alex said, "When we were kids, I had a crush on you, and it seems I still do, even as an adult." Surprised, I responded, "Then, should we date?" And that's how our relationship started, with such a casual exchange. It goes without saying that I burst into laughter when a sober Alex later rolled around on the floor, questioning himself. No, I talk too much. How embarrassing. Am I too cheesy? Who do I think I am? There's something amusing about seeing the person you like so embarrassed, especially when you're the reason, though I feel a bit bad for him. Then everything quickly fell into place, and we were set to marry. We went to each other's homes to announce our upcoming marriage and cohabitation plan set for 6 months later. The idea was to live together before marriage to understand each other's lifestyles. Since we were childhood friends, both our parents already knew each other well. There were supposed to be no problems, easy approval, but an issue arose, of all places, at my home. It happened when Alex came over to greet my family and we were having dinner. "I'm home." With a deflated tone, my sister came back from work. Upon spotting Alex at the table, she first showed surprise, then quickly switched to a delighted expression. "Alex. What are you doing here?" "Well, Alex, a bit embarrassed, then glanced at me. "Actually, we've been dating for about 6 months, and we've decided to get married. Today we came to tell you all about it." I spoke up instead of Alex, thinking it best to tell my family myself. At that moment, my sister's face twisted as if she had bitten into something bitter. "I see. I'm tired, so I'm going to sleep. Good night." She hurried to her room and slammed the door with a bang. Whoa, that was so cold. Worried I had upset her, I turned to Alex, who gave me a reassuring smile, indicating he wasn't bothered. For the record, she's not usually like that. Perhaps she was upset about my marriage or the cohabitation. But why, when even our parents showed no sign of objection, would my sister be the one to have such an issue? I was puzzled over whether to confront her directly after Alex left. As I was about to head to the bath, I bumped into her in the hallway. Stuck for words, I was met with a glare as if from a demon. "I never thought you would marry Alex. I've always liked him. I'll never forgive you." Stomping away as if scattering the wrath of a demon, my sister left. I stood there dumbfounded by her unexpected confession. Really? Alex was the one she liked. I held my head in my hands, thinking this was turning into something straight out of a soap opera. After a sleepless night, well, to be precise, tossing and turning all night, I finally found my answer. What's the problem if my sister likes my fiancé? After all, our marriage is already set. It would be a different story if Alex liked her back, but that's not the case. Above all, if she has loved him since we were kids, she should have told him her feelings earlier. It's her fault for not expressing her feelings, and blaming me is completely misguided. I can expect her to become more hostile, but I'll just brush it off with the generosity of a big sister. Though it's quite a heavy situation, I've decided to face it with a defiant optimism. Still, I'm torn about whether I should tell Alex. Because it would mean letting him know about my sister's feelings. But if I don't, every time he comes over, he'll end up feeling uncomfortable like yesterday, without understanding why. Thinking of him as part of this too, I decided to tell him everything. If there's anything, just tell me, although I might not be able to do much. Alex said, worrying about me. True. It's a sister issue after all. Maybe I should use you as a shield if she tries to attack me. Hey, don't joke about that. Ahaha. And just like that, we decided not to think too deeply about it. Neither of us had any intention of changing our decision about the marriage, and it wasn't something that could be resolved by talking my sister into understanding. So, our choice was to just leave it be. As expected, my sister's hostility towards me intensified immediately after. First day, I went to the bath after her and found the tub emptied. Such things are minor, there's always the shower. Really, such petty annoyances, my sister is such a dear, I could afford to joke. But hiding my makeup and wallet before work really got to me. I don't have time for a treasure hunt in the morning. I was shaking at the thought of being late as I frantically searched. Thanks to that, I ended up rushing to work just in time to avoid being late twice in 1 week, and my boss gave me cold looks as if I was slacking off with the wedding coming up. I won't forgive her. No, I'm the older sister, I should forgive. No, I won't forgive her, well maybe. I was torn. At first, our parents didn't know about the harassment, but after she started hiding valuables, they realized something was off. My mom scolded her, "Why are you acting so childishly?" Well, the person herself probably just found it annoying, but the problem was with my dad. After my sister was born and my mom fell ill, my dad, who had to take care of her for a few weeks while she was still fragile, tends to favor her, or rather, shows partiality. That's because he felt like a mother due to his childcare experience. I can't say I don't understand his feelings. I also found my sister adorable when she was going through tough times. The only time I felt treated differently from my sister was probably when I was young and wanted to go to an amusement park, and she made a fuss about preferring the aquarium, so my father decided, okay, we'll go to the aquarium then. Since my mother was the type to also consider my feelings, asking, is it okay with you? I honestly don't have bitter memories of dad's favoritism towards my sister. However, if my mother hadn't been like that, I might have felt quite inferior. Even then, my friends used to say, your sister gets all the love, so I thought it was just a natural imbalance of affection. Maybe it's just my naturally optimistic nature. I'd like to see someone who can bring me down. I thought to myself. But this time, Dad blatantly took my sister's side. Apparently, she told him that her big sister stole her boyfriend, and now in my father's eyes, a man who toyed with both sisters, the worst kind of guy, that's how he sees Alex. I understand why he would side with her, after all, what happens to the sister left behind while the other gets married? Against my father's opinion, my mother remarked, I just can't see Alex being capable of that, with a tone of skepticism. But she did listen to my objection, no, that's not it. She was impartial, not taking my sister's or my word for granted. Yet, Dad insisted, as if I had been brainwashed by Alex, I can't stand thinking about my abandoned sister being toyed with. My beloved daughter being manipulated, I won't stand for it. Wake up. No matter what I said, he wouldn't listen. Despite some differences in affection, he's a good father who truly loves us sisters, but this time, I just wish he'd listen to me more. It was incredibly problematic that he was opposing my marriage, but I decided to push through. In short, I decided to move out earlier than planned and quickly start living with Alex. If the problem lies with my sister, then it's best to keep a distance from her. If I'm not at home, the harassment will stop, and that would be the end of the issue. It seems I was right, as our cohabitation went smoothly. As time went by, Mom said, I think you're probably right, and you're an adult now, so do as you please. Live freely. Dad seemed dissatisfied but, surprisingly, didn't say anything. Even if Alex and I broke up, he felt sorry for me, but he couldn't imagine him going to my sister either. I thought this was the best way to resolve everything. I felt bad for Alex, being made out to be the villain, but there was no word from the problematic sister, and I thought everything was over. Then came the wedding day. As expected, my sister didn't attend, and Dad urged, "It's not too late to reconsider." Mom laughed, "I've thought I've made a mistake a few times after marrying your dad, so just be prepared. Marriage is full of surprises." It goes without saying that Dad turned pale behind us, exclaiming, "Is that so?" Not everyone may have been genuinely happy, but under our parents' watchful eyes, we got married. The next day, our doorbell rang incessantly. "What? What?" Alex and I jumped up. Rushing to the monitor, to our surprise, my whole family had come to visit. "Dad, Mom! Sophie, what on earth is going on?" My sister glared at me sharply. I kept quiet, but I'm pregnant with Alex's child. Take responsibility. What does that mean? You're fortunate to have no children yet. Let Alex take responsibility, break up with him, and let him marry Sophie. Mom, looking puzzled by my sister and father's argument, asked me, "What's going on?" At the entrance, Alex, still half asleep, came following me. My child? What? Finally, he seemed to wake up, shaking his head at me. "No, that's not true." His denial was as dramatic as a comic book scene. I know, right? That panicky reaction only makes it look suspicious. Stop it. I managed to keep from laughing. "Alex's child? How many months pregnant are you?" 2 months. If Alex doesn't take responsibility, this child will grow up fatherless. Isn't that sad? 2 months. Startled by my sister's claim, Alex and I locked eyes. Both of us burst into laughter. Confused, our parents looked on. My sister blurted out, "What's so funny?" "Well, you know." So it was 2 months ago. Laughing too hard, I started tearing up. "Sophie, we had fun the other time, didn't we?" Oh, yeah. My sister was momentarily flustered by Alex's sudden question. My parents couldn't understand what he was saying, looking at him with eyes full of disgust. Probably, I'm the only one here who realizes what he wants to do. "By the way, Sophie, how many abs did I have?" Huh? My sister is dumbfounded, and I'm about to burst out laughing. "Do you remember how many abs I had when you saw them 2 months ago? I accidentally lost them since then." The only person who would describe his abs like they were something he lost is Alex. I'm laughing so hard that I feel like my abs are going to start showing. "What are you talking about, Alex?" The correct answer is 0. I was about to say I knew that, but Alex, ignoring his sister's puzzled look, solemnly confessed he had no abs. Even my mom had to laugh at that. This contest might just be about who can make the others laugh. Second question. You've seen my mole too, right? How many do I have? What? My sister seems confused about how to react to Alex's strange question. That's understandable. Confusing my sister in this situation is exactly what Alex aims to do. Since they have no physical contact, she definitely can't answer Alex's questions. If she slips up, it's just a lucky chance for him to tease her. She should just deny everything quickly, but he's persistently asking all sorts of things, enjoying that she can't answer. Actually, it seemed my mother was beginning to feel uneasy about the distance and attitudes between my sister and Alex. Isn't it odd for them to be like this? She pondered. That makes sense, such interactions wouldn't happen if they were actually involved. It's too embarrassing in front of the parents. This conversation itself proves that nothing happened. It's like Alex's way of getting back at my sister for troubling and confusing her. He seems to be having so much fun, like a child who got a new toy, wearing an innocent expression. What a scary guy. I thought to myself, one couldn't marry Alex if they can't handle this kind of joking, while watching how my sister would respond. Thinking of the second question, she blurted out in desperation. 10, maybe? Wrong, the correct answer is. I don't know either. My dad burst out laughing at that. At the same time, hiding his frustration with laughter, he said, "Enough, Alex. Stop fooling around with my daughters." I stopped my dad, who looked like he was about to grab Alex. Wait, listen. You said she's been pregnant for 2 months, right? Then, considering the timing, it couldn't be Alex's child. What do you mean? My words caught my mom's attention. Should I say it? I glanced at Alex, who reluctantly nodded, looking utterly displeased. Wait, can I say it? Can you? Oh, I'll do it. Bragging, he puffed out his chest. Actually, at that time, I got stung by a bee on my important part. At that moment, everyone, even my sister, burst out laughing. Enough with the lies. There's no way you got stung there. My dad was angry, while my mom was slapping her knee, laughing. Well, it's embarrassing, but it's true. It was so hot, I thought I'd cool off. Thinking no one could see, I opened the window and was relaxing in the buff when it came buzzing in and stung me. Alex's face, even his ears, turned bright red. I thought I should not laugh at his embarrassment caused by my family, but I couldn't hold it in any longer and burst out laughing. There's no way such an embarrassing guy exists. No, there actually is such an embarrassing guy, right here. Despite Alex's loud objection, this was not something to be proud of, not something to puff up his chest about. Just because, it doesn't prove that the child in my belly isn't yours. My sister, on the verge of losing her ground, seemed to revive and jumped into the fray. No, Sophie, think about it. It's a bee sting we're talking about. Got stung right in the vital parts. Hey, father-in-law, imagine that. You understand, right? The pain of having your life's essentials attacked. She falls silent at his serious face. Perhaps imagining the situation from his explanation, my father looks down, subtly holding his groin. Dad hurriedly tries to look stern, but it's clear from his eyes that he's starting to believe Alex's words. It's a really delicate area for a man. It was a tough situation. We even called an ambulance. It was more embarrassing for me, being there with him. I couldn't help but interject in Alex's story. I was running a fever, it was tough, and in that condition, to procreate, you'd have to be really into some peculiar stuff. You could even check with the hospital we went to. His voice fading, our mother just laughed out loud. Alex, you used to have a habit of taking off your swimsuit when we played in our pool back in the day, right? Let me see the place where you got stung. Mom approached Alex, laughing and waving her hands. What? It's healed, there's no evidence here. Like I'd show that. He covered not the significant part but his chest, trying to escape from our mother's hands. From the looks of it, mother has completely trusted him now. I felt relieved. Alex seemed relieved too, but in a different sense. Well, yeah, I feel sympathy as a man. It's such an embarrassing lie, one wouldn't tell it, and there's no need to check with the hospital. At that moment, Dad looked at Alex with kind, almost compassionate eyes, unlike any I'd ever seen. Ironically, because of where the sting was, understanding came quicker from someone of the same sex. Wonder if this is what they call a blessing in disguise. In the midst of all this, I said to my stunned sister. Look, even if you tell such a pointless lie, neither Alex nor I are going to divorce. Instead, it just makes you look more miserable. You might not believe me, but I genuinely want you to be happy. You're my only sister, after all. In that moment, my sister's eyes flew open wide. Shut up, shut up, shut up. I've had enough. I don't like Alex if he's going to be on your side. She became emotional and reached out to grab me, but Alex forcefully pushed her hand away. It's fine if you don't like me. I love Ally, that's all that matters. I think of you as a precious childhood friend and sister-in-law, but I'll never see you as a lover. If you keep repeating these lies, I'll confront them head-on. I'm Ally's husband, so I'll protect her with everything I've got. I almost cried. He didn't look at all like the silly guy who, after being stung by a bee, said, I might be done for, the world is against me. I even thought, my husband is so cool. Dad, seeing this, said, Sophie, if you really are pregnant, please show us any medical records or anything. Hearing this, it was clear that our parents had believed in Sophie's pregnancy based solely on her word. I love my parents for believing in their children without question, but this time, their kindness seems to have backfired. Mom also told my sister, if it's a lie, apologize to them both. My sister bit her lip, trembling. Enough! No one is on my side. I don't care if you regret this. With that, she left the room in tears. Dad tried to follow, but Mom stopped him, let her be. Let her cool off. 2 weeks later. It seems Mom had forcibly taken my still insistent sister to the gynecologist, but there were no signs of pregnancy. No sign of illness either, she was diagnosed as a perfectly healthy adult woman. Dad and Mom apologized to Alex, sorry for the trouble and for doubting you without reason. We should have trusted you, whom we've known for so long. Please take care of Ally. And to me. We're really sorry for making you feel uncomfortable. Honestly, I hadn't told them about the worsening relationship with my sister, so I don't think they were at fault. Parents who trust their children without question might be judged differently by others, but for a daughter, it's also a reassuring fact. After all, there are no substitutes for them, my unique and precious parents. Everyone has a flaw or two. This time, it just happens to be my parents, specifically my father's, favoritism towards my sister, which I have once again suffered from. However, considering the great favor of raising me so well, I've decided to forgive them. After all, without these parents, I wouldn't have grown up this happily, nor would I have met Alex. My sister, feeling suddenly ashamed after her pregnancy lie was exposed, blurted out, I'd rather leave this house on my own terms, and left in a huff. Before, my father, who is usually lenient towards my sister, would have been the first to welcome her back. But this time, he said, perhaps it's better for Sophie to have a cooling-off period rather than coming home. My mother said, after what she's done, it's not something that can be brushed off as just a whirlwind of romance. If she can't come back and apologize properly, she can't enter this house. I can't imagine my sister, who was so furious, apologizing to us sincerely, and I believe my mother thinks the same. In other words, this was essentially a disownment. 7 years have passed since then. My sister once apologized to our parents and us and returned to our home, but in the end, she was truly estranged and driven out. Because initially, my sister acted humbly, but by the end of that year, she had drunk too much and caused trouble. She crawled into Alex's bed, who had gone to bed earlier, and said, aren't you getting tired of your sister by now? Alex must have thought he saw a ghost, because he let out a yah-yah loud enough to get scolded by the neighbors. That scream not only woke me up but also our parents, and that's when the incident came to light. My sister, not a suspect but indeed the person in question, was quite drunk and complained, but it's so frustrating seeing you always getting along with Ally. Can't you share a little of that with me? Of course, that's not something that can be done, nor would it be. I was furious enough to say enough is enough. Alex was terrified like a chihuahua, and our parents, showing a face of wrath I had never seen before, disowned my sister. Especially, my father, who used to dote on my sister, said, I didn't raise a child to assault a man in his sleep, showing his disgust, something I will never forget. My sister, once she sobered up, apologized over and over again, but my father sternly rebuffed her, saying, actions when drunk reveal true feelings. I can no longer trust anything you say, and with tears, my sister left our home for good. Meanwhile, around the same time as that tumultuous New Year's, I discovered I was pregnant with my first child. Since then, I've been giving birth almost steadily, you know. Now, at the age of 34, I'm a mother of 4. 2 of them are twins, so I've only given birth 3 times, though. Since they are almost all the same age, every day is like a festival. If left alone, the walls would be filled with crayon drawings enough to make you wonder if it's an art show, and every Sunday morning, Alex and I, with cleaners in hand, would run around the house, but no sooner is it clean than it gets drawn on again. But, including such misfortunes, these are fun days. The youngest is in a bit of a defiant phase, with I hate clothes. I hate brushing my teeth. I hate going to the bathroom, and so on. It's just, what do you expect me to do? But when I see the sleeping faces of my 4 angels, I forgive everything. My parents, too, seem to feel the same way about not just the first grandchild but all the little angels that have popped up, frequently coming over to our place to help with childcare. Alex is also cooperative with childcare, though it has resulted in constantly having his hair pulled whenever he gives piggyback rides, and now he's worried about a future of thinning hair, but he deals with it all with a smile as if to say, I can't help but adore the kids. Even if you go bald, it's okay. With your salary from the promotion, we can afford good hair loss treatments now, I'll refrain from saying. It might be amusing to see Alex struggle with thinning hair. For better or worse, I want to see all the different sides of the person I love. Far from a quiet and serene home, it's a place that's not just lively but overly noisy. Yet, I'm incredibly happy right now.